Wireless. MicroID will convert any controller and readers into wireless. Before we will tell you how we will do that, first we shall look at places where we have implemented the converters and the problem we faced and how we solved it. Problem 1. This is one of our site. The existing site have a problem with the reader's communication cable to the controller. Well, normally to solve this problem, we need to lay a new cable, which will be costly, messy and consumes a lot of time. You can see from the images that we have showed that one of the cables we wanted to lay, we have to cut through the tiles and place the cables, and later onwards we have to seal them as well. So for the reader across the road, we use the slave wireless converter peer-to-peer and send the reader data to the master converter at the controller inside the guardhouse. As you can see from the image, instead of cutting through the tar road, bringing the cable all the way to the reader, what we did, we made the reader into wireless and transmitted the data to the controller. For a problem 2, okay, this side, I have to tell you, we had a lot of issues. It was from the lightning. So lightning issues, we pretty much every one of us have this problem, okay, lightning. But this side was even worse. The worst situation was the entire arch, okay, this entire arch, the entrance part was made out of metal. So even the slightest lightning happens somewhere, the reader gets burned. So we tried ourselves with lightning protection and so on, but none of it helped us. So normally when lightning happens, cable underground will have spikes. Okay. So you can see the cable which is going past through the pink color line there is the cable which is going to. So the cable and that most of the times happens spikes. Okay. So the more longer the cable it is, the more chances are the spikes will occur. Okay. So DC wires, which is data cable which is going under the ground, and the more longer it is, the lightning, any type of lightning issues happen, all that, they create instability in their power. So the readers and the controllers which are sensitive to that will get affected by the sudden surge of power. So how do you think we solved this problem? You guessed it right. We added wireless. But before we added the wireless, we took the DC power from the closest barrier. Okay, you can see the yellow line which is coming from the barrier gate. We got the power from it for the reader and the converter. Then we just used the converter converting the reader's data cable data and transmit it wirelessly. You might ask, what happens? You're already adding another cable underground, okay, from the barrier. The difference is it's shorter. Okay. Why AC power doesn't have any problems when the lightning happens is because AC power is already grounded. Okay. So in that sense is we can assume that they have their own protections which is happening well. But DC itself was very much problematic, especially the data cable. So in this cases, we are only getting the power, okay, the DC power from the barrier side, okay, but the data itself is directly from the reader to the converter. So the converter is right behind the long range reader. So after adding this master and slave wireless converter, thank God, the problem was solved, and until today, it's been working and running. We have kept in touch with the site and we've been asking them how is it going on time to time, and they've been saying that it's working without any issues. Alright, let's look into problem 3. So the problem tree is got to do with leaf data cable. Okay. This side, we were using RS485 cable for the communication between the reader and to the controller. Okay. But in our bad situations, this RS485 cable was faulty. In leaf, we only can use a special leaf cables known as traveling cables. It's rare for it to be faulty. And if they do, you have to lay a new cable. And these cables are expensive. On top of it, the manpower to lay it is also a cost that need to be paid. If there is an issue, you always need to call the lift guys to come to the site as well. So without the lift guy, you can't proceed the working, and to do the working, you also need to have the proper equipments as well. So here you will be spending time, you need to allocate certain schedules, and you need to maintain it. So, and time consuming as well. All this comes under plan. Okay guys, so what do you think? How did we solve this? So I'm not going to keep on asking this because everyone knows that we are only talking about wireless. So we solved it by wireless. So what we did was in the side is, in the end, we removed the RS485 cable from the leaf card and add the LoRa slave wireless converter to the reader. The LoRa master wireless converter was added at the control room, the leaf control room, which is 33 floors above. So you should add another 2 floors to enter to the leaf control room. So that we are looking at nearly 35 floors above. Okay, so but this site is known as 33 floors. We are happy to say it was a successful solution. Until now, the reader is reading and transmitting to the controller without any fail. Problem 4. Well, problem 4 is not actually we encountered or solved. Okay, this is not actually a real site. We're just giving you a scenario basis on requests where customers and peoples who keep on asking us. Okay, they have encountered this kind of situations though previously. So we thought that these are good places where wireless converters can be introduced. So from the problem 1 to 3, what can we conclude? Any places we have issues to or problems to lay a new cables, okay, or the existing cable itself have issues, we can consider using the wireless converter. Even places where you end up wanting to use vegan to RS485 converters, you can actually replace it to think about using a vegan to wireless. But I have to tell you one thing, even though we've been emphasizing saying that wireless converters doesn't need wires, but for the power, I have to emphasize the power does need cable. So for that purpose itself, we still need to lay certain power cables for the converter itself. What can we tell? See, in the solutions we given before we turn them into wireless, okay, at least the power cables, we can tell that we can actually get it from the closest scenario or the power source, so that you don't need to share the power from the controller itself. So the controller can be in one side and the reader can be in one other side. So in this case is you have a picture here with the entire doors are made out of glass, and if you have to lay a cable, which is just now what you saw was in the where the pink cable is going all the way to the controllers. Okay, you have to hack through the whole wall. Now we can say that you just have to hack the shortest distance to the power for the reader, and the controller is already up there, and you are done with the wireless. We have two types of wireless converters. Right. So let's explore more details on that two types. You would have heard, I already given you the hints what type of the wireless converters we have, but let's dive into it more further. So our first converter is known as peer-to-peer converter. It converts vegan to wireless. Peer-to-peer uses 2.4 GHz frequency. It's nearly same technology as your Wi-Fi. But peer-to-peer uses MAC layer network protocol. And Wi-Fi uses a lot of extra layer protocols which comes along with it. This makes Wi-Fi very heavy in its communication. Well, long story short, I'm not going to bore you all. Okay, peer-to-peer have better coverage and range up to 100 meters with interference immunity. And the data is encrypted with AES 128. And the other converter that we have is LoRa converter. LoRa converter also converts vegan to wireless. It uses 919 MHz to 923 MHz using a protocol known LoRa. And yes, this is also encrypted with AES 128. The distance that the LoRa can cover is more longer than the peer-to-peer. So we can cover up to 500 meters with LoRa. And guys, I need to say, we proudly can say right now our LoRa frequency has been approved by CIRIM. So you can apply this LoRa converter in places without worrying about the CIRIM's condition, because we have acquired its certification. So let's look into our smart converter peer-to-peer's advantages. So peer-to-peer has one pair of peer-to-peer, that is master and slave, can support for one controller to one reader and one push button. And the system is suitable for boom gate, access control, lift or elevator for few floors height. So you still can use this for certain condos, they have only 4 floors or 2 floors. So if in those end they have lift inside them, you can directly implement this wireless converter there itself and solve your problem in the lift condition itself. And the other one is you can use it for remote triggering, which is something like how you're going to have remotes, but it's in a longer distance itself. So you have, instead of using the 433 megahertz remote, which only can go up to 10 meters, if you want to distance it for 100 meters, you can use it as a remote as well. So this is our peer-to-peer distance test, where we tested all the way until 127 meters. So from our office and to all the way to the junction, then I was running around with the reader and flashing the reader, and the controller receives it and retransmits back to me. So this is the Google map where we took the distance range from the map itself, which it says that's 127. It's good distance, guys, good distance. So for LoRa converter, okay, our other product was the LoRa converter. For this, one pair, master and slave, can support for 2 controllers or one controller which has 2 reader inputs. So because it has all 2s, we have 2 push buttons, 2 readers which can support by the slave. So the master is adaptable for the controller part itself. So this system is also suitable for boom gate, where you can use it for in and out readers, or you can use it to open close the boom gate as well. And also for access controls, it can support for 2-door access controls, or access control with 2 readers, where you can have in and out reader to be supported. Lift or elevator. Our LoRa converter has been tested for 33 floors. So we can now tell you that we can support up to 33 floors. But if you can say that you can find out 500 meters is how many floors, you can go up to that. Okay. But I have to tell you, with line of sight, it actually can go more than 500 meters. Well, we just keep it for safety reason at 500. Remote triggering, yes. You want to open or close something from very far distance, you can use LoRa as well. So for LoRa, well, for LoRa, we had to take a car and drive around all the way to the junctions, and we couldn't find any location where we can get a very good straight line. Even this spot, okay, at the 550 meters, it's already curving already. So there's already a middle there, there's a building which is coming, intercepting itself. So at the 550 meters, we're already getting a signal, okay? And the signal was, I won't say it's, what do you call that, 100% good at the 550. There was one or two eyes which it didn't read. That is only I can suspect was the building which is already intercepting, because we had to, even the 150 where we had to spot why in middle of the road, the cars was coming up and down. So at the middle of the road, when I went there and flashing, perfect. It was perfect. But I can't stand there and do the recording in the middle of the road, so I had to go to the side of the road itself. So in that point, it was not good. But at the 500 meters, where was the line of sight was good, 505 meter, there was line of sight, it was good. We were getting a very good, what do you call that, response. So with that itself, we kept it as, like I said, 500 meters itself. But we will try to do in future a real line of sight test and see how far we can go. And even we'll try to implement in lift shaft, which is more longer than 33 floors, and we will update in time to time if we get the chance. Or maybe you guys can give me the chance to add into a lift which is have 50 floors. That will be great. Right. Okay guys, we are already end of our slide. But before I end this, I want to tell you a secret. Why I've been keep on telling you that there's master and slave for the converters is not only for easier to explain to you about the master and slave, but one master can support multiple slaves. In that case, what I mean is you can have one master for multiple slaves. I don't want to explain more details on that part, but this is actually, so there are multiple different types of problems in your site. Most probably we can solve it by using this as well, the wireless conditions where you need multiple sleeves. So any kind of problems or when you want to implement thing, you can discuss with us, you can ask the questions, and we can clarify that how we can implement in this solutions to your existing areas where you are facing any issues, or even new areas you want to implement it, so we can implement it and see how we can work around with the system. So if you have any questions, the floor is open, so you can continue asking in and I can explain to you all any details on that.